during the Kerala floods, we used every possible, air effort that we had, the Indian Navy had. So we put all the Sea Kings also in the air. So I was flying one of those Sea Kings. So it was off Chalakudi, if I remember correctly. This particular rescue mission. So I went, after poyappo oru terrace inde molil ninnu angane aaru waving undairunnu. So I went into hover and then I started winching one after the other. So oru terrace inde molil ninnu oru 17 aale njan winch cheedu.
You expect that much of people together on the
adalla, of course you expect and you try and take as much as possible, but if one after the other they all wanted to be rescued. So I couldn't say no. People, they wanted to be rescued and I can't say no. So I kept winching up. My crew kept winching up people. So we winched up 17 people at one go. And that is the time when I saw somebody waving from a building further away. They were also desperately waving with something. So then I said, okay, I didn't have the heart to, leave them, because I knew it was getting close to the sunset, So you don't know what will happen at night, Maybe there could be some grievous injury to them. So I said, let me attempt. So I shifted the helicopter to that building and I continued picking up people, rescuing people. Till the last man which was left on the roof. So finally when I picked up everyone, that is when I realized that I've already winched up 26 people inside. So it was very challenging, extremely challenging. What happens is, the reserve power gets reduced, helicopter. Then you are at the extreme limit of your power. You hardly have any power to fly, to take off. But somehow you managed to get airborne. Probably. So then that's when I realized, just before landing, I realized that I am carrying 31 people on this aircraft.
It was, who counted it?
My rear crew counted it. And because I had to give the RT call to the ATC. The ATC will ask number of persons on board. So that is the time I counted how many people are there.
Alright. So it's very time consuming.
It's very time consuming. It's very time consuming because a heavy helicopter like Sea King, you can't get it close, to the ground because the downward from the rotors are very, very strong. So it can fly off. So that is the danger. Most of the terraces had the tin roofs, So I was worried about the tin roofs flying off because of the rotor downwards. That can be fatal can be very grave danger to the helicopter. Because what happens is the tin roof can fly up to my rotors. And if it hits any part of the aircraft, it's a catastrophic failure there. So I had to keep at a higher height, and then from there you have to send the winch down. And then we have to winch up one after the other. So it's very time consuming and all the time you have to maintain precise hover. You have to keep flying the aircraft manually to keep it steady because you can't move. If you move 1 inch at a height, this can be, where the winch is, it can go almost, 15 feet, 20 feet away. So you have to be precise in your skill in hovering. That is the challenge. Those are the challenges which was completely new for us, very tall coconut trees, the high tension wires, the microwave towers, the buildings, and then this anything which can be loose on the ground, So you had to come low to rescue people, yet you have to sufficiently remain high so that you are safe from all these things, So that is a challenge. It's a continuous challenge actually. How to maneuver the aircraft. Very often, sometimes what happens is the place where you can put the aircraft, you may be not facing the wind. So which can be very, very tricky. Helicopters or any aircraft flies best when it is facing into the wind. It's an aerodynamic requirement, So some places I couldn't face into the wind. Wind was from my tail. So that makes it that much more difficult to maneuver, to control the aircraft. See, it's also the reason that Navy, we normally don't fly over land, Our naval flying is all over sea. Here it was completely different. We were flying all over the land. So which was completely very different for us. The flying takes place from an air station. As far as Navy is concerned, we have INS Garuda. So we all assemble there and then we have clearly tasks assigned to each one of us. So then thereafter every aeroplane will take off. The pilots who are assigned for the task. The missions are launched from Garuda. So Garuda is the one who coordinates the entire thing. So everybody had a clear-cut task. Today, okay, you are going to so-and-so area. The other helicopter is going to so-and-so area. Like that we divided the entire state, wherever we could reach. So every aircraft is going to different locations. And then you try and rescue whoever, opportunity based on whoever is asking you for help, we kept rescuing people. So depending on the aircraft that you fly, every aircraft has got a defined endurance. Like Chetak helicopter can't fly as long as Seeking can fly, or an ALH can't fly as long as ALH can fly a little more than Chetak, you know. So every aircraft has got a certain defined endurance. എത്ര സമയം ഫ്ലൈ ചെയ്യാം, കാരണം അത് കഴിയുമ്പോൾ അതിന് ഫ്യൂൽ കഴിയും. So then you have to come back to Garuda, refuel the aircraft and then go again. So this went on. This is a continuous process. So one mission after the mission, you kept going back to Garuda, drop the people and refuel the aircraft and again go back. So that is the process. So from sunrise to sunset the Navy was flying. Nightly it's not possible to rescue in this kind of obstructions. You can't see anything. So that is very dangerous. എനിക്ക് കുറച്ചുകൂടിയൊക്കെ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമായിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ അങ്ങനെ എന്നും തോന്നിയിരുന്നത്. I guess that's a very you always feel reach out to people who require your help. Clean sheet ഇട്ടുള്ള റൂഫിൻ്റെ മുകളിൽ ചെറിയ ഒരു സ്ക്വയറിൽ നിന്നൊക്കെ ഞാൻ റെസ്ക്യൂ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. In fact, I rescued one paralyzed woman through this hole. That was very challenging actually, because she was in a wheelchair. Her parents was desperately trying to send her away. So the danger was ഈ കുട്ടീനെ വീൽചെയറിന്ന് റെസ്ക്യൂ ആയിട്ട് ഫിറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഈ ചെറിയ ഹോളിൽ കൂടെ വേണം മുകളിലേക്ക് പൊന്തിക്കാൻ. അപ്പോൾ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു തുള്ളി അനങ്ങിയാൽ she can get injured, grievous injury, can be very dangerous, grievous. So you have to be very, very still in flying. Unfortunate fact of being a helicopter pilot, though I've been involved in many rescues, I hardly know anyone whom by name, the people whom I rescued. ഒരിക്കലും പറ്റിയിട്ടില്ല, അതിനൊരു അവസരം കിട്ടിയിട്ടില്ല. ബട്ട് ഹാപ്പി ദ ഫാക്ട് ദറ്റ് വേറൊരു മനുഷ്യനെ രക്ഷിക്കാൻ പറ്റിയെന്ന് അറിയുന്നത് മാത്രം ആ ഒരു സന്തോഷവും സമാധാനം മതി. ആലുവ മെട്രോ സ്റ്റേഷൻ കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പിന്നെ വെള്ളം ആയിരുന്നു. ആ പാലത്തിൻ്റെ ആ ശിവക്ഷേത്രം കംപ്ലീറ്റ്ലി അണ്ടർ വാട്ടർ. നെടുമ്പാശ്ശേരി എയർപോർട്ട് കംപ്ലീറ്റ്ലി അണ്ടർ വാട്ടർ. ദ ഫസ്റ്റ് ഫ്ലോർ ഓൺലി വാട്ടർ വാസ് അറ്റ് ദ ഫസ്റ്റ് ഫ്ലോർ of the airport building. Full runway was under water. I mean, that is the kind of scenes that I've seen during the Kerala floods. Changanur, Tiruvalla, only when you reached ദൂരത്ത് it is very wooded, കുറേ മരങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഉള്ള ടൗൺ ആയതുകൊണ്ട് only when you reach there you realize അവിടുത്തെ ഭയാനകം മനസ്സിലാവുള്ളൂ. ഫുൾ വാട്ടർ ആയിരുന്നു ടൗണിൻ്റെ അകത്ത്. അതുപോലെ കാലടി, ചാലക്കുടി, all over the place, fully inundated. ഇത്രയധികം വെള്ളം ആലോചിക്കാൻ പറ്റാത്തത്ര വെള്ളമായിരുന്നു. Completely flooded. I can speak as a proud Malayali that the way the fishermen rose to the challenge, phenomenal out of the box solutions were really. So such brilliant people, and they did a yeoman service actually. Everybody, why just fishermen? I think everyone was a hero. I mean, I think that entire mass of humanity came together. This was an opportunity for, I guess, for everyone to get together. Everybody was into this, rescuing people. All kinds of things happened. You see, military, I can speak with confidence that we evolve with every lessons. Military learns from every event that takes place, So evolve from making us more efficient and better efficient. I guess in the realm of aid to civil power, whenever there is a natural disaster, namely floods or earthquake, where the military comes to in the aid of the civilian population, namely there a lot of coordination comes in terms of the whether it's a district administration, the state administration, the bureaucracy per se, So I guess that is where we really need to work. For instance, very many places we must establish the systems well, as to in case a disaster strikes, let's say Kerala, we should be prepared for it. In the sense the collector or the government in Trivandrum, they all should have a blueprint ready, how to employ the military, where to employ the military. I think that this kind of exercise, a regular exercise, during the peacetime, will ensure that we will be much more efficient than what we are. If we can do some practices, to improve our efficiency in terms of coordination between the various branches or departments of the government with the military. If we can do that more, it's all about awareness. If we can make the common man be more aware of the dangers and what will save him or her, I think that will help people in a long way. During the cyclone Oki, which was in December 2017, right? Those days I was flying the Seeking helicopter. I was posted here in Kochi, so I was flying the Seeking. So the Navy realized that we need to go quick to rescue people. So we went with 2 seekings from Kochi to Trivandrum. I landed in Trivandrum, and then we immediately, I didn't want to waste any time. So I kept, with the rotors running, I fueled both the helicopters, and then we took off into the sea. So we kept flying for about almost 4.5 hours, and we rescued a lot of people. Almost 17 people we rescued from various boats. Every boat was capsized because of the Oki. Oki generated a lot of big waves. The sea was very rough, and because of the large, the very heavy waves, most of the fishing boats were all capsized. So the fishermen were clutching onto the backside of the boat and lying down. So we went and rescued people from the capsized boats. About 17 people we rescued between the 2 helicopters. Then we landed. By then it was sunset. It was nearing sunset, and there was hardly any daylight left. So we didn't want to waste time. We refueled the aircraft with the rotors running, and then we took off a night, and we kept flying, and then it became pitch dark night. We could not see anything. It was raining. It was zero visibility. We just couldn't see anything out of the cockpit, and flying conditions were very challenging. One had to concentrate very severely on the instruments to make sure that you are flying safe, because you could not orientate yourself looking outside. So we were looking for the boats, though I knew that it is next to impossible that finding somebody in this pitch dark night, and but yet something told me that you must at least attempt. There are more people who needs your help. So we went with that prayer, but after some time, the other helicopter which was with me, they found it a little difficult to fly. They found it very little challenging for them. They were getting disoriented. So then I told them that you should head back to Kochi. Since I was more experienced than them, I continued flying. I said, let me try a little more. So I kept flying, and that is when there was a Chinese ship which was sailing from in the Indian Bay of Bengal, Arabian Sea, which sighted this one fishing boat which was capsized, and they immediately piped up on this channel 16, which is an open frequency. So I heard this article, and then I went towards the ship, this merchant ship, Chinese ship. So since the visibility was so poor, I could hardly make out where the ship was, leave alone the fishing boat. So I managed to sight the ship, and then I kept circling over the ship, but I was not able to sight the fishing boat, which they were seeing. The ship was seeing, and they were using a laser pointer pointing towards the fishing boat. But luckily my navigator saw this laser beam from his window. So he told me, sir, I've sighted the laser beam. So as soon as he told me this, I turned the aircraft around and got into a manual hover, and I switched on all the floodlights and searchlights and all that, and I was lucky to sight the boat. I saw the boat, and there was one single fisherman who was lying on top of the boat, clutching onto a rope, and he was not showing any signs of any life. He was completely unconscious, and my worry was, if I go close, he might, because of my downwash, I didn't want him to slip away from the boat, because if he falls down from the boat into the water, I will never be able to rescue him, because he will be lost forever in that dark cauldron of the sea. So I very carefully went over him, because I had to go over him to rescue him. I couldn't have rescued him, staying away. So I very slowly went towards him, and then I lowered the rescue hoist, but he was in no condition to rescue himself. Rescue hoist he was not showing any signs of life. That is when I had to decide to send a diver of mine, a free diver, and that was a very difficult decision, extremely difficult decision, when you know that you may not be able to retrieve your diver back should something go wrong with the aircraft, and conditions are very, very tough and challenging. But the rest of the crew who flew with me, they are the ones who gave me the confidence, including the driver. He was so joshed up and he was so full of confidence that he said, no sir, I will go, don't worry. So with a huge responsibility, I took the decision actually, okay, let me send the diver if I can save that fisherman. But that was a touch and go decision making actually, very, very critical.